Hi, third graders. Welcome back. Today we are going to talk about revising, and you've just watched that short video on what revising is. Remember, it's when you are making sure that your writing makes sense, right? You want to make sure that you can do things to make your writing sound better than the first time, right? And when you wrote down your draft, got your ideas down on paper, right? You want to go back and you want to make sure that it sounds better than it did at the very beginning. So how are you going to do this? And I have the word star written down here to help you remember, okay, the steps that you're going to take. So the first is S, and that stands for substitute. So what you're going to do is you're going to go back into your writing and you're going to change some of the words that you have that are weak words with stronger words, okay, using juicier words or salsa words, like I like to call them. They're a little spicier. So try changing out some words, and I'll show you a little bit of what I did in mine. The second thing you can do is you can take out things that you repeat, right? Maybe you've said it a couple of times, or maybe it's just not important to your story. So take things out that don't help your reader understand. A stands for add. You want to go back into your writing and you want to add details. You want to add figurative language, like we talked about, those similes. That's figurative language. Onomatopoeias, figurative language. Maybe you realized, oh, I forgot something and I need to add some new information into my story, right? I forgot an important part. Maybe you could go back and you could add some adjectives. So those describing words, right? And then finally, the R stands for rearrange. Maybe you want to put words in a different order, or maybe sentences in a different order. You shouldn't have to put your paragraphs in a different order because you're using the power organizer, right? So you know your first paragraph is your top triangle, last paragraph is your bottom triangle. You keep those in order as you write. But one way to remember how to revise is to think of the word star. And that's why I have some stars up here, right, for you to remember that. Tomorrow, you're going to actually have a chart, like a checklist, that you're going to be able to use after we talk about the editing piece as well. And that's the story for tomorrow. But let me show you in my writing how I went back and revised. And I want you to look really closely. Remember when I was talking about learning how to stand up on the paddleboard? And I talked about the rubber grips on the board were digging into my knees and the pain was distracting me. Well, I went back and I added, that board was digging into my knees like sandpaper. Does that help you to understand what it felt like? Right? It was gritty, bumpy, and it was hurting. I think if I had left that detail out, you might not understand my story as much. So I wanted to put that in there to make it a little bit better. I wanted to show you instead of just telling you it was digging into my knees. Here's another spot where I revised. Remember, I'm making my writing better. I said it took a while. Let me go back because I missed that one spot. I was talking about how it was when I went to stand up. So let me read that whole thing. At last, Chris showed us how to stand up, and as I followed his direction, I began wobbling. And I just thought, well, what am I wobbling like? How can I show my reader? I began wobbling like a baby learning to walk. You can picture what that is like. You've probably seen a baby on TV or a baby in real life learning how to walk, and they're kind of, wobbling back and forth. That's what I felt like when I went to stand up on my paddleboard. Look what I did here. I had a transition word, the word next. Next, I paddled with confidence. I thought, how can I change that? Sound a little bit better. So I changed it to, in the meantime, I paddled with confidence as I looked around at my surroundings. So I just went in and changed that phrase for my transition. I didn't like the word next. I wanted to use something different. So today, your job, and if you need to rewatch the video that you watched before this one, feel free, right? You can go back as many times as you need to. Revising is something only you can do. This is your writing. It's your story. You were there. You know how you felt, what you saw, right? All of that. So only you can revise your story to make it better, right? You want to make sure that it sounds better than the first time you jotted down your ideas. And you're going to remember how to revise by spelling out that word star. Substitute, take out, add details, and rearrange. I want you to pause the video. I'm going to zoom out here, and I want you to copy this down because revising is something that readers or writers do every time they write. They always go back and reread things. They're always changing things. So make sure that you go back and revise today to make your writing even better.